pausing. Hello everybody. Unfortunately, the round 4 of the daily event with LED Bob failed to record. It was against my buddy Andy, aka the Eternal Hammer. He's with me on Skype to recreate the match from both people's perspectives. Say hello, Andy.
Hey George, thanks for having us on, and hopefully we can record something that's worthy of Penguin TV.
Yeah, let's see how this goes. So, I won the roll, and I know that Andy is playing Gush, and really glad to see him out in the event. So, hit pause, fast forward. Alright, so, I kept the hand. And I believe Andy keeps his hand as well. Yes, he does. What were you thinking about your hand, sir?
I was really wondering whether I should have mulliganed. It was a fairly slow hand. It did have a little bit of gas with Dark Ritual and Gifts Ungiven, which can be pretty spicy. And it had Time Vault, and I was maybe kind of hoping to get lucky and find my Voltaic Key and pull off the combo. I knew you were playing a pretty fast, explosive deck, and yeah, in hindsight, maybe I should have mulliganed this hand. I probably didn't mulligan aggressively enough, but let's have a look how it played out.
Alright, so yeah, I keep my hand because I've got half the Vault Key, a Brainstorm, and Thoughtseize, and I know your combo. So I lead out with the Swamp and the Thoughtseize. I try to lead out with the Swamp and the Thoughtseize. Fast forwarding here. There we go. Swamp, Thoughtseize. And I pick a Brainstorm out of your hand that had Time Vault, Island, Tropical Island, Rebuild, Gifts Ungiven, and Dark Ritual. I was pretty excited that I didn't see any black mana in your hand. And I didn't think Time Vault was too problematic since all you had was 2 mana to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I probably should have mulliganed this one away. But that was it. So you took the Brainstorm, which was pretty gutting because I was hoping to kind of draw into something. I then drew Vampiric Tutor, and if black mana had come my way, then...
Go ahead.
So I was hoping to brainstorm into something exciting here, and Whiffy managed to hit me with a Thoughtseize pretty early on. What I did draw this turn was Vampiric Tutor. Still didn't have any black mana, which is a bit of a shame, because with the Dark Ritual and the Time Vault in hand, black mana would have opened up the possibility of assembling the Vault Key combo. So all I'm left with the option of doing is either playing the island or the Tropical Island here, and I elected to play the Tropical Island. Maybe the island would have been more sensible if I thought that Whiffy was playing Wastelands. And I just have the option of passing the turn here, so not very exciting, but that's where we're at.
Alright, so I draw a Lotus Petal, Brainstorm, and I get Thoughtseize, Dark Confidant, and Necropotence. I put back my Tendrils of Agony, and I put back another card that you just saw me put back, thinking that I'm going to go Lotus Petal, Dark Confidant, because his hand is really cumbersome, and Dark Confidant will win me the game. And so I just go on to do that. And he draws for the turn. And what were you doing over here, sir?
Yeah, well, I actually got lucky, and I drew my Voltaic Key, and that's really what I needed. It was the nuts draw, really, off the top. I had no black mana for my Vampiric Tutor, so I just had to rely on the natural draw. Found the Voltaic Key, and started dreaming of locking the game down next turn. So I laid the island, tapped the Tropical Island, and put my Time Vault on the table, keeping my key in hand, praying that George doesn't now draw a Duress Effect or a Force of Will, or indeed already has one in hand. And no protection, no option of getting any protection. I passed the turn.
Yeah, so he plays the Time Vault, and I was like, okay, I've got Dark Confidant, I'm going to draw my Voltaic Key and then Tendrils, and I make a joke when I reveal the Voltaic Key that together we can share the infinite turns. But then I play Thoughtseize, and lo and behold, I see some action in his hand with the Voltaic Key, and I make a comment that I don't know who's luckier, me or him, because I almost didn't play that Thoughtseize because I almost didn't draw it. So, yeah, take his Voltaic Key and ship the turn over to him.
Yeah, what I was really hoping was that even if you drew the Thoughtseize, there was a possibility you might hold it back. Having seen how weak my hand was, you may have just taken the view that, we'll leave it be and have a look in the turn time and see if there's something more spicy to steal. As it was, you took the key, and that pretty much ruined any chance I had of coming back from this really cumbersome, difficult hand. I ended up drawing Tendrils Rd off the top, and without any black mana, things were just looking really, really painful for me right now. I have no option but just to ship the turn back to George.
So yeah, I untap and I bob into a Hercule's Recall and draw a Thoughtseize. So yeah, I Thoughtseize him again, and I take his Vampiric Tutor. Figure why give him the option of getting Yawgmoth's Will?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that really was kind of final nail in the coffin there. I was thinking, if I get lucky, I manage to find some black mana, then I have a few options, especially with the Dark Ritual and the Gifts Ungiven and the Vampiric Tutor there. But alas, Swiffy managed to find yet another Thoughtseize, and he crashed on in and gutted my hand a little bit more. I drew an island this turn. Really isn't going to do anything to save me. Plonk it on the table. And I also got a Yawgmoth's Bargain in my hand now. Did I skip an extra turn? Maybe.
Yeah, so you dropped your island, and then I untap and bob up the Underground Sea and draw Naturally Time Vault.
Yeah.
Right after you had cycled your rebuild.
Oh, that was it. Sorry. I'm very sorry. I recycled the rebuild and drew Yawgmoth's Bargain off the top.
So that was game one. He conceded to the Time Vault. I was actually a little worried that you would make me draw out with Dark Confidant, but I mean, I had Tendrils in my hand. There was no way I was going to lose that game.
Yeah, it was not going to be an issue to you. I was pretty confident you had that one wrapped up. Yeah, I mean, I was hoping to have one more turn and find my black mana and get my Dark Ritual off to cast my Yawgmoth's Bargain, but again, it was all pie in the sky as you got the Volkey combo assembled and was ready to win the game.
So for my sideboard, I took out my 2 Hercule's Recall and put in a Chain of Vapor and a Echoing Truth. And I'm not sure, but I acknowledge the fact that you had Oath of Druids and you might side them in against my Dark Confidants. I'm not sure if I sideboarded in my Forbidden Orchards. I don't think that I did.
Okay, well, yeah, I did sideboard in my Oath of Druids. I thought, well, the main thrust of your deck is to land an early Bob, an early Dark Confidant, and I was going to try and capitalise on that by getting down an Oath of Druids and flipping into my Blightsteel Colossus. So definitely my four copies of Oath of Druids came in. Out went a rebuild, a Hercule's Recall, a Gifts Ungiven, and I can't remember what else I ripped out to get that fourth Oath of Druids in. But yeah, 4 came in for the game 2.
All right, so go back and let's pull up game 2. So you won the die roll here, and I had a hand of pretty unplayable cards, and I mulliganed it. My second hand is Double Polluted Delta, Spell Pierce, Dark Confidant, Tinker, and Tendrils, and I decided that was good enough because it had Dark Confidant. What did you open up on?
Well, I had Polluted Delta, Tropical Island, Source of Will, Lotus Petal, Yawgmoth's Bargain, Time Vault, and Merchant Scroll. So I was fairly happy with this hand. I did consider just chucking it back for a little bit, but I had the option of Force of Will active with the Merchant Scroll in hand. The Yawgmoth's Bargain is really powerful, and with the Petal there, I already had a little bit of acceleration to get me towards it, and I had the Time Vault, so I could maybe start to get lucky again and find my Voltaic Key for the second time, and hope this time that you didn't have the three Thoughtseize effects. So I didn't know if you were playing Wastelands. I opened with a Polluted Delta, put it on the table, and I just simply passed the turn here with no action.
Yeah, I drew an Underground Sea for the turn, played it, and passed the turn. And then what did you get on turn 2 for your draw?
I then drew another polluted delta, which was okay because it's moving me a little bit closer to getting that Yagmoth's bargain on the table. I had the option here of either going with the merchant scroll into maybe a brainstorm to get things moving along, or to get down the time vault, or just to simply ship the turn. And I decided just to ship the turn and see what you did. I wanted to keep the Force of Will option going there as well, and wanted to try and keep the polluted delta uncracked at this stage to give me an opportunity to shuffle if I was to draw into a brainstorm or some other gas.
Yeah, so I draw Lotus Petal, and I think, great, now I can play Dark Confidant and back him up with Spell Pierce if I need to. Or I can play Dark Confidant and Spell Pierce his play on his turn. So that's what I did. I left the Lotus Petal on the table and got a Bob out there. And then shipped the turn over to you.
Yep. I did consider Force of Will in the Bob, but I really wanted to try and force through the Yagmoth's bargain or the Time Vault Volkey combo if I could get it, and I just felt that you were probably holding some sort of counterspell in hand anyway. So the Bob hits the table. I also have my Oath of Druid sideboarded in, so I'm hoping to try and flip one and then use that to find my Blightsteel Colossus. This turn I actually drew Tropical Island. I'm now getting a little bit worried that I'm behind on the table. I've got Dark Confidant staring me down. He's going to be doing 2 damage and drawing with me lots of cards. So I decided I can't really sit back much longer. I need to try and maybe get a bit lucky, and to do that I need to kind of start utilising my mana and getting cards into play. So I put the Time Vault down, and I'm now hoping next turn to either come into the key or to one of the tutors in the deck, or to be able to get the Yagmoth's bargain into play. So I tap the 2 Tropical Islands that I have in play, and the Time Vault tries to resolve. But the El Cunning Penguin, he has the Spell Pierce in hand. He sacrifices his Lotus Petal and stops the Time Vault coming down.
Yeah, I was not about to let you get half of a game-winning combo on the table. It's especially when you're holding up black mana with the polluted delta. I know how these Time Vault decks work. You get half the combo naturally, you almost always win. So yeah, I Spell Pierce it, and because I Spell Pierced it, I mean, I didn't think I had very many options. I untap into Brainstorm and Lotus Petal, and I figure, why not? He didn't fight over the Time Vault. I'm going to run out Tinker off my Lotus Petal and try to get Blightsteel Colossus out. So that's what I do, and I get so far as playing the Tinker, and then Andy Force of Wills me with Merchant Scroll.
Yeah, I had absolutely no option here. If you resolved the Tinker, Blightsteel was coming down and it was game over. It was one of the reasons for holding back the Force of Will, and I knew I needed to keep that back to counter a game-winning spell from Whiffy. And although the Dark Confidant was moving him towards a game-winning position, something powerful like assembling the Time Vault combo or resolving a Tinker is something worth keeping back the Force of Will for. So the Force of Will came down, stopped the Tinker, and I took 2 damage from the Dark Confidant that turned sideways into the red zone.
Yep, so I attacked him and then passed the turn back to him. And I'm not sure if it was this turn or the next turn, but something happens.
Yeah, so I untap with 2 Tropical Islands and a Delta in play. My hand has Lotus Petal, Yagmoth's Bargain, and a Polluted Delta. And I get pretty lucky in that I rip a Dark Ritual. So this gives me the opportunity to get my Yagmoth's Bargain onto the table. And I figure that George has no protection left in hand, because if he did, he would have used that to cover the Tinker. So it's obviously a good time to go all in and get that Yagmoth's Bargain onto the table.
Yeah, when you resolved the bargain, I thought to myself, oh god, I am so screwed if he gets a fast spawn in the first couple of cards.
Yeah, absolutely. I needed the cards to fall for me here, and unfortunately they didn't, but I'll talk you through what happened. So,
Alright, so right now I'm looking at this through the point of view of Andy.
Yeah, so this is where we're at. I'm pretty 100% confident that George doesn't have any protection in his hand, else he would have used it to cover the Force of Will and Tinker. I have been fortunate enough to top deck a Dark Ritual. I was hoping for either a Dark Ritual or something similar like a Mana Crep to enable me to accelerate into the Yawgmoth's Bargain that I had in my hand. So I've just at this point in time cracked the Polluted Delta on the table and pulling in a dual land. It's another Underground Sea, and then I drop the Lotus Petal and tap all the mana available, leaving the Lotus Petal on the table, and put down the Yawgmoth's Bargain. Nice shiny foil, the Yawgmoth's Bargain. I leave the Lotus Petal up because it's capable of generating any of the mana that I may need, and it keeps my options open. If I find my Fast Bond or I need black mana, basically by keeping the Lotus Petal there gives me options.
Yeah, so I made a comment about how your Yawgmoth's Bargain was really nifty, like mine was.
Yeah. So anyway, I've got 15 life to play with, and I'm pretty confident at this stage that I'm going to win this game. So let's just see how it plays out. So first of all, I draw Oath of Druids, Polluted Delta, and Sol Ring, and maybe at this point I should have just played more cautiously. I've got quite a high life. I maybe should have just put down the well, the option was I'd already laid my land for the turn, so I couldn't do anything at this point. Thinking about it, so I'm forced to keep drawing.
If you hit the fast forward button, you can draw one card at a time. The button,
okay.
Yeah, that one right there.
Okay, that's really useful to know. So again, at this point, I really have the option of needing to go for more cards, because the only mana I've got available to me is the Lotus Petal, and all that I can use that for is to cast the Sol Ring. I need to get another Lotus Petal or some other form of accelerant to be able to get this going. A Gush would be good, or ideally a Gush and a Fast Bond would be the best combination here. So I've got Mind's Desire, a couple of copies of Oath of Druids, and I'm down to 9 life. So I've really got to keep going, because the Yawgmoth's Bargain on the table is it's locked on my draw step. I'm not going to be drawing any more cards. So the only way I'm going to be winning is by maximising the draw here, getting as many cards in my hand as possible, and trying to find a way to either beat Whiffy or stop him winning and stop him beating me down with the Dark Confidant and its card advantage. So we'll keep going. I draw an island again. I'm unable to play that, having already played my land for the turn. I draw a Dark Ritual. This begins to kind of get me excited. I'm at 7 life now, but I'm thinking, that the acceleration there from the Dark Ritual could be good. If I can just find another couple of pieces of the jigsaw, I might be able to get this game wrapped up. I'm beginning to get a little bit frustrated now. I'm staring at this Duress, which isn't really doing much for me. This Mind's Desire, which is a high casting cost card, and I'm not anywhere near the effect. And my 2 sideboarded Oath of Druids, which I'm unable to get onto the table. The cards that I sideboarded out wouldn't have been of any relevance either. I'm down to 6 life now, and I've just drawn the Lotus Petal, and I'm thinking, okay, this is looking good. I'm getting to a position now where things are starting to kind of happen. Got a couple of mana. I've got the option of getting an Oath of Druids down. I still don't have the option of getting this Mind's Desire off, which would have been the ideal dream. And so at 6 life, I'm mindful of the fact that if I need to be able to at least survive one attack, an attack from a Dark Confidant, before I'm able to trigger my Oath of Druids and get my Blightsteel Colossus on the table. And I also am mindful of the fact that Whiffy's going to be drawing 2 cards next turn, and at the moment I don't have any Force of Will in my hand.
And you're pretty low to an attack from Dark Confidant.
I'm sorry?
You're pretty low in the life for an attack to Dark Confidant to pass the turn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. So, things are looking pretty precarious, but I play out the Lotus Petal. I then sacrifice the Petal and cast the Dark Ritual, and then cast the Duress. I figured I may as well at this point have a quick look at with his hand and see what he's got, and see if that can aid my decision on what to do next. And I also wanted to get the damage off so that I had a spare black mana to play with. Whereas if I had cracked the loads, if I didn't cast the Dark Ritual at that point, then I'd be cutting myself off of coloured mana again. So
yeah, I was worried when I saw that Dark Ritual that you hit Tendrils and you were just gonna blow me out.
yeah, I mean, it would have been so nice. I do feel a little bit aggrieved that I was a bit unlucky in this game, having got the bargain down and got to the position I got to. But anyway, I cast the Duress, selecting George as a target, and I see the Tendrils of Agony and the Brainstorm, and I'm thinking, God, I'm really low on life. My best bet at the moment, and my only bet, is to try and get the Oath of Druids down, to survive the next turn, find the Blightsteel Colossus, and win the game. So I'm thinking, well, if he's drawing 2 cards, chances are he could get something a bit broken, and by swinging in for 2 with the Dark Confidant, I've got to get rid of that Tendrils. I can't allow that Tendrils to sit there in his hand and give him the opportunity to beat me. The other option is just to kind of throw caution to the wind and Yagmoth's Bargain for an additional 5 life, and hope that here is that you've got the Tendrils of Agony in hand. I have to get rid of that. I can't allow you the opportunity to Tendrils me out on the next turn. And the other option I have is just to draw 5 life and go for broke and try and flip something that's going to win me this game. So anyway, I take the Tendrils, and I know you've got a Brainstorm in hand, and I'm looking at the possibility of laying an Oath of Druids and passing the turn, or having a look at another couple of cards. So I think at this stage I just decide to have another look at what's on the top. So take another card, and it's a Duress, and I'm thinking, well, I may as well take the Brainstorm. It cuts off your options. It lets you see 2 less cards. So I fire off the Duress and I nick the Brainstorm. And at this point, I think, right, well, I'm kind of as low as life as I really want to go. And I know you've got no cards in hand, so you've got two cards to find an answer to my Blightsteel Colossus. Well, actually 4, because you'll get 2 this turn. Then I'll bring up my Oath of Druids, trigger my Oath of Druids, get my Blightsteel Colossus, and then you will have that opportunity. So I'm thinking that the odds are pretty good for me.
Yeah, I thought that I was going to lose this game when I saw that Oath of Druids hit.
Once I get the Oath of Druids down, I'm thinking that in your list I wasn't expecting you to have that many answers. So rather than gamble and go lower on life on the Yagmoth's Bargain and get blown out by just drawing more blanks and getting attacked by the Dark Confidant, I lay out the Oath of Druids, and this will enable me to take an attack from the Dark Confidant this turn and hopefully win the game. So let's see what happened.
Alright, so you played the Oath and then passed the turn.
I did indeed.
I revealed Bayou and drew Polluted Delta. And I was like, well, this is not helping. So I attacked with Dark Confidant, and then I played the Delta and passed the turn back to you, who went ahead, activated Oath, and hit Blightsteel.
Yeah, so we're seeing my screen at the moment, so I'm just...
Oh, I'm actually looking at my screen again.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. That's really confusing. So I was really relieved to know that you hadn't drawn out to my imminent Blightsteel Colossus. And I untap turn, and I trigger the Oath of Druids. And lo and behold, my Blightsteel Colossus comes down, leaving me with 5 cards in my library. And by being able to see what cards have been scoofed off to the top, I can also work out what the last 5 cards in my deck are as well. But I'm feeling pretty darn confident. I've got the Blightsteel Colossus down against the Dark Confidant. There's little that Whiffy can do really. He's got 1 turn, 2 cards to find an answer, and surely I've managed to lock out this game. So confidently I ship the turn back to George, and...
Yeah, so I looked in his graveyard because it got gigantic when he flipped with Oath of Druids, and I saw all 4 Force of Wills, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm dead unless I draw a Chain of Vapor. And so I take my turn, I untap, I upkeep step, or at the end of his turn I fetch out an Underground Sea, and then I upkeep step and he goes and lets the Oath Druid trigger go. And boom, Echoing Truth as the reveal off of Dark Confidant. So, and I draw a Bloodstained Mire, and I just slam out that Echoing Truth.
Yeah, I had no option. I, like you, had a quick look through my library and had a look what was available to me, and it was pretty damn limited. And there was no point in Yagmoth's bargaining. My Yag Will had gone, my Tendrils of Agony had gone, and I was just really confident that you weren't going to find the nuts on the top of your library, and like the sack that you are, Penguin, you pulled it off.
I did, and this event ended with Oath of Druids and a clanmate winning, which was pretty cool. And sadly, you know, I did knock Andy out, but I really appreciate you coming on and helping me recreate the match.
That's okay. It was kind of cool. I kind of liked recreating it and having both sides of the match on the table.
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool, and I will edit this out because there were a couple of blunders. There were some things that I need to edit out, but I think it went smoothly for the most part. If you guys like this, let me know, and I'll try and do something like this in the future. So that's it for this one, and I will see you guys next week when we do something else. Have a good one.